The crystal chandelier above table 7 cast diamonds of light across Emily Carter's worn sneakers as she balanced 3 plates of $70 steaks. 25 years old, 2 jobs, still 3 months behind on her student loans. The universe had a twisted sense of humor. She'd graduated with honors in journalism, dreaming of exposing corruption and changing the world. Instead, she was exposing her fake smile to Manhattan's elite at Lumiere, where the wine cost more than her monthly rent. "Enjoy your meals," she said, her voice practiced and sweet, before turning toward the kitchen. That's when she saw him, Alexander Hunt, 30 years old and worth more than some small countries. Tech billionaire, venture capitalist, the man who'd revolutionized artificial intelligence and made his first billion before his 25th birthday. She'd written a college paper about his company, Next Gen Industries. And now he sat 15 feet away, laughing at something on his phone, completely unaware that his perfectly curated life was about to shatter because Emily had seen something she wished she could unsee, something that made her stomach twist into knots tighter than the chef's signature pasta carbonara. Across from Alexander sat Madison Pierce, 22, blonde, flawless, and, according to every gossip magazine in the city, 3 months pregnant with his child. The engagement announcement had broken the internet 2 weeks ago. Madison's Instagram post, a close-up of a diamond ring the size of a grape, had gotten 14 million likes. The caption, "Growing our family. Baby Hunt coming soon," but Emily knew the truth, and the truth was about to ruin everything. She'd been working a double shift yesterday when Madison had walked into Lumiere with a man who definitely wasn't Alexander Hunt. Tall, dark hair, expensive suit. They'd sat in the corner booth. The one couples chose when they wanted privacy. Emily had approached to take their order, and that's when she'd heard it. Madison's voice, low and conspiratorial. "He actually believes I'm pregnant. Can you believe it? The great Alexander Hunt, genius billionaire, and he never thought to verify. Men are so predictable." The man had laughed, running his finger along Madison's jaw. And the wedding. Emily had frozen, pretending to write down their wine order, her pen hovering above her notepad. 3 weeks, Madison had purred. "Once we're married, half of everything is mine. New York's not a prenup state if you can prove coercion. And trust me, I've been documenting everything. His controlling behavior, his emotional manipulation. My lawyer says we're looking at a settlement of at least $4 billion, maybe 5. And the pregnancy?" Emily's hand had trembled. She'd kept her eyes down, invisible the way good servers learn to be. Miscarriage. Tragic, devastating right after the honeymoon. He'll be so broken, so guilty. He'll give me anything I want just to make the pain stop. The cruelty in Madison's laugh had made Emily's blood run cold. By this time next year, I'll be one of the richest women in America, and he'll be another stupid man who thought a pretty face meant a pure heart. Now, watching Alexander smile at his phone, probably reading some sweet text from Madison, Emily felt sick. She'd spent all night debating what to do. It wasn't her business. She was nobody, a waitress struggling to survive in a city that chewed up dreamers and spit them out. Who was she to interfere in a billionaire's life? He probably wouldn't even believe her. Rich people lived in a different world. They had assistants and lawyers and security teams. They didn't take advice from servers who smelled like French fries in desperation. But then she thought about her father, dead at 52 from a heart attack, 6 months after discovering her mother's affair. The stress, the betrayal, the shock of realizing the woman he'd loved for 30 years had been lying to his face. The doctors said it was cardiac arrest. Emily knew it was a broken heart. She couldn't let that happen to someone else. Not when she had the power to prevent it. Even if that someone was a billionaire who'd never notice her existence otherwise. Alexander Hunt was a human being. He deserved the truth. Decision made. Emily straightened her shoulders and walked toward table 7. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her palms were sweating. This was insane. This was career suicide. Lumiere served Manhattan's most powerful people. If she made a scene, if she embarrassed a client, she'd be blacklisted from every decent restaurant in the city. But she kept walking, because some things mattered more than survival. Some things mattered more than playing it safe. Truth mattered. Integrity mattered. Saving a stranger from devastation mattered, even if it cost her everything. She reached his table. Alexander looked up, his gray eyes meeting hers. Yes? Emily took a breath. Mr. Hunt, I need to tell you something about your fiancé. Alexander Hunt's expression shifted from polite curiosity to guarded confusion in less than a second. I'm sorry, what? Emily's throat felt like sandpaper. Around them, the restaurant hummed with quiet conversation. Clinking silverware, the soft jazz piano in the corner. Normal. Everything was so painfully normal. Except nothing was normal about what she was doing. My name is Emily Carter. I'm your server tonight, but that's not why I'm here. She glanced around. The nearest occupied table was 20 feet away. Still, she lowered her voice. I need to speak with you privately. It's about Madison Pierce. Something flickered across his face. Annoyance, concern. She couldn't tell. If this is about an autograph or a business pitch, I'm not interested. His tone was polite but firm, dismissive. Please send over the manager. I'd like to order. Your fiancée isn't pregnant. The words fell between them like a grenade. Alexander went completely still. His phone slipped slightly in his hand, the screen still glowing with what looked like a text message thread. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, he just stared at her. Then, excuse me? Madison Pierce, your fiancée, she's not actually pregnant, Mr. Hunt. It's a lie. A con, and I can prove it. His jaw tightened. Emily watched his knuckles go white around his phone. Who sent you? His voice dropped to something cold and dangerous. Was it Bradley? Marcus? Which one of my competitors paid you to come here and— Nobody sent me. Emily's hands were shaking, but she kept her voice steady. Yesterday afternoon, Madison came into this restaurant with another man. Not you. They sat in booth 12, the corner one. I was their server. Madison knows a lot of people. Business associates, friends. They were kissing, Mr. Hunt. Silence, and that's not all. I heard them talking. About you. About the wedding. About how she's planning to fake a miscarriage. Right after the honeymoon and take you for billions in the divorce. Settlement. Alexander stood up so fast his chair scraped against the marble floor. Several nearby diners turned to look. He was tall. Emily had known that intellectually, but standing this close, she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Those eyes were blazing with something between fury and pain. You're lying. I wish I was. Madison is pregnant with my child. We've been together for 8 months. We're getting married in 3 weeks. And you're— He looked her up and down, and Emily felt every dollar sign of the gap between them. You're a waitress who's probably trying to extort money from me. That stung. More than it should have. I don't want your money. Mr. Hunt, everyone wants my money. He pulled out his wallet, yanked out $500 bills, and threw them on the table. Here, is this enough? Or do I need to call security? Emily didn't touch the money. Booth 12, yesterday, around 2:30 p.m. Your restaurant has security cameras. Check them. You'll see her walk in with him. Tall guy, dark hair, navy suit. They ordered the 2015 Chateau Margaux. Spent 3 hours here. Something in Alexander's expression shifted. The 2015 Margaux? Yes. That's a $6,000 bottle. I know. I served it to them. His breathing changed. Slower, more controlled. Emily recognized the look. He was thinking, calculating, running probabilities the way billionaires did, weighing her story against everything he thought he knew. Why? He asked finally. Why would you tell me this? You don't know me. You have nothing to gain and potentially everything to lose. So why? The honest question deserved an honest answer. My father died 6 months after he discovered my mother's affair. Heart attack. He was 52 years old, Mr. Hunt. Healthy, active. And then one day he learned the woman he'd loved for 3 decades had been lying to him. And his heart just stopped. Emily's voice cracked. But she pushed through. I watched what betrayal did to him, how it destroyed him from the inside out. And yesterday when I heard Madison laughing about how she was going to trick you, manipulate you, take everything from you. She met his eyes. I couldn't let that happen to someone else. Not if I could stop it. Even if you never believe me. Even if I get fired for this. At least I tried. Alexander stared at her for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. Marcus, he said when someone answered. His voice was clipped, controlled. I need you to pull security footage from Lumiere restaurant. Yesterday, 2 to 6 p.m., booth 12 specifically. Send it to my phone now, he hung up. Sit down. Miss Carter, I can't, I'm working. Sit down. It wasn't a request. Emily sat. Alexander remained standing, his phone in his hand, his entire body radiating tension. Around them, the restaurant continued its elegant dance. Servers glided between tables. Wine glasses clinked. Somewhere, someone laughed, and Emily wondered if she'd just saved a man's life or ruined her own. His phone buzzed. Alexander's face went pale as he watched the screen. Emily couldn't see what he was seeing, but she didn't need to. She'd been there. She knew exactly what the footage showed. Madison Pierce walking into Lumiere with another man, kissing him, laughing, planning. When Alexander finally looked up, his eyes were different, hollow. Tell me everything. Emily told him everything, every word she'd overheard, every detail she could remember. The way Madison had touched the other man's face, the cold calculation in her voice when she'd talked about the miscarriage, the lawyer she'd already hired, the documentation she was building to prove coercion and abuse that never happened. Alexander listened without interrupting. His face could have been carved from stone. When she finished, the silence stretched between them like a chasm. Emily could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. She'd done it. She'd told him. Whatever happened now was out of her hands. 4 billion, Alexander said finally. His voice was flat, empty. She said 4 billion. Maybe 5. Yes. And the baby? There is no baby, Mr. Hunt. I don't know if there ever was, or if she's just been faking symptoms. But there was. He cut her off, and for the first time, Emily heard real emotion in his voice. Pain. Raw and devastating. Or so I thought. She showed me ultrasound photos. Told me she'd been to her doctor. We picked out names. His hand tightened around his phone until Emily thought the screen might crack. Was going to be a father. The weight of those words hung in the... Emily felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back. This wasn't about her. This wasn't her tragedy to cry over. I'm so sorry, don't. Alexander's voice turned sharp. Don't apologize for telling me the truth. That's the one thing in this entire nightmare that isn't a lie. He sat down heavily, like his legs couldn't hold him anymore. For a moment, he looked nothing like the confident billionaire who'd walked in tonight. He looked like what he was, a 30-year-old man who'd just learned the woman he loved, the future he'd imagined, had all been an elaborate con. The wedding's in 3 weeks, he said quietly. Invitations went out last month. 400 guests. Madison wanted it at the plaza. She said she'd dreamed about getting married there since she was a little girl. He laughed, bitter and broken. I wonder if that was a lie too. I wonder if anything she ever said to me was real. Emily didn't know what to say. What could anyone say to something like that? Mr. Hunt, Alexander. He looked up at her. If you're going to destroy my entire world, you might as well use my first name. Despite everything, Emily almost smiled. Alexander, she started again. I know this is... Emily... Both of them turned. Marcus, the restaurant manager, was striding toward their table, his face tight with professional concern. Behind him, Emily saw 2 security guards. Her stomach dropped. Emily, what's going on here? Marcus's voice was carefully neutral, but his eyes were furious. Mr. Hunt, I apologize for any disturbance. If our staff has been inappropriate, she hasn't. Alexander stood up. And suddenly he was the billionaire again. Commanding, authoritative. The kind of man who could buy and sell restaurants like Lumiere without thinking twice. Miss Carter was helping me with a personal matter. Discreetly and professionally, Marcus blinked. Oh, I see. My apologies, I thought... You thought wrong. Alexander pulled out his wallet again, but this time he handed Marcus what looked like a black American Express card. Close the restaurant. I'm sorry, what? Close it. Now. Compensate everyone for their meals, send them wherever they want to go, and give every staff member tonight's tips as if the restaurant had been full until closing. I need this space private for the next hour. Marcus's eyes went wide. Mr. Hunt, we have reservations. We can't just... How much does this restaurant make on an average Saturday night? It ain't roughly 50,000, but here's 200,000. Alexander didn't even blink. Close it 1 hour, and make sure Miss Carter isn't penalized for taking her break. He looked at Emily. You're not done talking to me yet. It wasn't a question. Marcus sputtered for a moment, then looked at the card in his hand like it might explode. Finally, he nodded. Right away, Mr. Hunt. He turned and started giving rapid instructions to the staff. Within minutes, the restaurant was in controlled chaos. Servers were apologizing to guests, offering complimentary meals at sister restaurants. Security was politely, but firmly escorting people toward the exits. Emily sat frozen. $200,000. He'd just spent $200,000 to talk to her. You didn't have to do that, she said when they were alone again. Yes, I did. Alexander sat back down across from her. Because we're not finished. Not even close. I told you everything I know. Maybe, but now I need to know what to do about it. Emily shook her head. That's not my decision to make. I just wanted you to know the truth. What you do with it is up to you. Except it's not that simple, is it? Alexander leaned forward. Think about it. If I confront Madison directly, she'll deny everything. She'll say you're lying, that you're trying to sabotage our relationship. Maybe she'll claim I put you up to it, that I'm looking for a way out of the engagement. But the security footage shows her having lunch with another man. That's not proof of a conspiracy. That's not even proof of an affair. She could say he's a friend, a business contact, anything. Without audio, without more evidence, it's her word against yours. Emily's heart sank. He was right. And if I call off the wedding based on what you've told me, Alexander continued, his voice getting harder, Madison will absolutely destroy me in the press. Billionaire abandon prégnant fiancé. She'll be the victim. I'll be the villain. My company's stock will tank. My reputation will be ruined. So what are you saying? I'm saying I need more than what you've given me. His gray eyes locked onto hers. I need you to help me prove it. Me? Emily's voice came out as a squeak. How am I supposed to? You work here. Madison comes here. She clearly feels comfortable here, safe here. Safe enough to meet her lover. Safe enough to plan her con. Understanding dawned cold and heavy. You want me to spy on her. I want you to be my eyes and ears. If she comes back, if she meets this man again, I need to know. I need dates, times, conversations, everything. I can't. $1 million, Emily's brain short-circuited. What? $1 million? That's what I'll pay you to help me. Consider it a consulting fee. Emily couldn't breathe. $1 million, she'd heard him say the words. Watched his mouth form them. But her brain refused to process the information. $1 million, that's insane, she whispered. That's business. Alexander's expression didn't change. Madison is planning to take $4 billion from me. Paying you $1 million to help me stop her is the best investment I'll make all year. I'm a waitress, not a spy. I don't know how to... You already did the hardest part. You told me the truth when you had nothing to gain from it. Everything else is just observation and documentation. He pulled out his phone again and started typing. I'll set up a secure communication channel. Encrypted. Untraceable. Anytime Madison comes in, anytime you see or hear anything relevant, you contact me immediately. Photos, recordings if possible, detailed notes if not. This is crazy. Emily stood up, her chair scraping back. I came here to warn you because it was the right thing to do. I didn't do it for money. I don't want... Emily! Alexander stood too, and suddenly they were face to face, inches apart. Let me tell you what happens if you walk away right now. I confront Madison anyway. She denies everything. Plays the victim. Maybe she even convinces me I'm being paranoid, that I'm sabotaging my own happiness. His voice dropped lower. We get married, and 6 months later, maybe a year, she files for divorce. Claims abuse, emotional trauma, whatever her lawyers tell her to say. And because I couldn't prove she was lying from the start, because I didn't have enough evidence, I lose half of everything I've built. But the security footage isn't enough. I told you that. Frustration bled into his tone. In a divorce court, with her lawyers spinning the narrative, one lunch with a friend means nothing. I need a pattern. I need proof of the conspiracy. I need her caught red-handed on record, admitting what she's doing. Emily felt the weight of it crushing down on her. He was right. She knew he was right. But this was so far beyond anything she'd ever imagined herself doing. Why me? She asked. You're a billionaire. You have resources I can't even imagine. Private investigators, security teams, lawyers who cost more per hour than I make in a month. Why do you need me? Because you're invisible. The words should have hurt. Instead, they rang with truth. Madison doesn't see you, Alexander continued. None of them do. The wealthy, the powerful. We walk through life surrounded by service staff, and we never really look at your faces. You're part of the background, furniture. That's what makes you perfect. He wasn't being cruel. Just honest. And Emily had spent 5 years being invisible to people like him. She knew exactly what he meant. If I hire a private investigator, Madison might notice. She's smart, careful. But you're already here, already part of the landscape. She'll never suspect you're watching. And when this is over, Emily asked, when you have your evidence and you confront her, what happens to me? She'll know I was the one who exposed her, which is why you'll have $1 million and a first-class ticket to anywhere in the world you want to go. Alexander's eyes were steady on hers. New city, new life, new identity if you want it. I'll make sure you're protected. You can't promise that. I can promise that Madison Pierce will be too busy dealing with fraud charges and lawsuits to worry about you. His voice went cold. When I'm done with her, she won't have the money or the freedom to hurt anyone. Emily's mind was spinning. This morning, her biggest worry had been making rent. Now she was standing in an empty restaurant, being offered $1 million to help take down a con artist. It felt like a movie, like someone else's life. I need to think about it, she said finally. You have until tomorrow morning. Alexander pulled a business card from his wallet. Plain white, no company logo, just a phone number embossed in black. This is my private line. Call me by 9 a.m. with your answer. Emily took the card. Her fingers were trembling. And Emily? Alexander's voice softened slightly. Whatever you decide, thank you. For tonight, for caring enough to tell me. Most people wouldn't have. Most people aren't watching someone walk into a trap, Emily said quietly. No, Alexander agreed. Most people just look away. He turned and walked toward the exit, leaving Emily standing alone in the empty restaurant. Around her, the staff was starting to clean up. Marcus was counting money at the bar, probably still in shock from the night's events. Emily looked down at the business card in her hand. One phone call could change everything or destroy it. She thought about her student loans. The second job, she worked at a coffee shop every morning before her shifts at Lumiere. The tiny apartment she shared with 2 roommates in a building where the heat barely worked. And the elevator had been broken for 3 months. $1 million would solve all of that, but it would also make her complicit, participant instead of just a witness. Could she do it? Could she spend the next 3 weeks watching Madison Pierce, documenting her lies, building a case that would demolish her? Emily thought about the cruelty in Madison's laugh, the casual way she talked about destroying Alexander, the complete lack of remorse for the pain she was planning to cause. Some people deserved to be exposed. Some lies needed to be brought into the light. Emily pulled out her phone and took a picture of Alexander's business card, then carefully tucked the original into her pocket. She didn't know what she was going to do yet, but she had until 9 a.m. tomorrow to decide. If she was brave enough to become more than invisible, if she was strong enough to fight back against people who thought they could use and discard others without consequences. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Whatever you decide, you did a good thing tonight. Not many people would have. Emily stared at the message for a long moment. Then she typed back, I'll call you in the morning. She hit send before she could change her mind. Because maybe, just maybe, this was her chance to be the journalist she'd always wanted to be. To expose corruption. To tell the truth. To actually change something. Even if the story she'd stumbled into was far more dangerous than anything she'd imagined in college. Marcus appeared at her elbow. Emily, what the hell just happened? She looked up at him and smiled. I have no idea. But I think my life just got a lot more complicated. That was the understatement of the century. Emily didn't sleep that night. She lay in her cramped bedroom, staring at the water-stained ceiling. Alexander Hunt's business card on her nightstand like a small white rectangle of possibility and danger. $1 million. Her roommate Jennifer snored softly in the next room. Through the thin walls, Emily could hear the couple upstairs arguing again. Car horns blared from the street below. Normal New York sounds. The soundtrack of her normal New York life. Except nothing about her life was normal anymore. She picked up her phone. 3 a.m. 6 hours, until she had to call Alexander with her answer. Emily pulled up her bank account. Balance, $843. Rent was due in 5 days. $1,500 she didn't have. She'd been planning to ask her boss for an advance again now. She was contemplating a deal that would make her rent seem like pocket change, but it wasn't about the money. Not really. Emily opened her photos and scrolled back 2 years. There, her father's last birthday. He was smiling, holding up a homemade cake Emily had baked. Chocolate, his favorite. 3 months before he'd discovered the affair. 6 months before his heart attack. She remembered the funeral. Her mother crying, playing the devastated widow perfectly. Emily had wanted to scream, to tell everyone the truth, that her mother's tears were nothing but performance, that she'd killed him as surely as if she'd put a gun to his head, but she'd stayed silent, invisible, just like she'd been trained to be. Not this time, Emily whispered to the darkness. She sat up, turned on her lamp, and pulled out her laptop. If she was going to do this, she needed to do it right. Emily opened a new document and started typing everything she remembered from yesterday. Every word of Madison's conversation, every detail, timestamps, the man's description, the wine they'd ordered, the way Madison had laughed when she talked about destroying Alexander. Documentation, evidence, the foundation of any good story. She'd learned that in journalism school, back when she'd thought she'd be investigating corporate fraud and political corruption. Turned out she'd just been preparing for a different kind of story. By 5 a.m., Emily had filled 12 pages with detailed notes. She'd created a timeline, a profile of Madison based on her social media. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all public, all carefully curated to show the perfect girlfriend, the devoted fiancée, the glowing mother-to-be. 14 million likes on her engagement announcement, 4 million followers who believed every carefully filtered lie. Emily looked at Madison's most recent post, a selfie from 3 days ago. Madison glowing, one hand on her supposedly pregnant belly, caption reading, "Can't wait to meet you, little one. You're already so loved." 300,000 likes, 50,000 comments, everyone congratulating her, celebrating her, believing her. Emily's stomach turned. How many other people had Madison conned? How many other lives had she destroyed on her way to this moment? She checked the time. 6:30 a.m., 2.5 hours until she had to call Alexander. Emily closed her laptop and got in the shower. The hot water felt good on her tense shoulders. She let it run over her face, washing away the exhaustion, the fear, the doubt. When she got out, she felt different, decided. She got dressed. Black jeans, gray sweater, her worn Converse, her armor, the uniform of someone who blended in, who disappeared into crowds, who nobody looked at twice. Perfect camouflage for what she was about to become. 7:15 a.m. Emily made coffee. Strong and black. She sat at her tiny kitchen table and pulled out Alexander's business card one more time. Just a phone number. 10 digits that would change everything. She thought about her father. About the smile in that birthday photo. About the man he'd been before betrayal had hollowed him out from the inside. She thought about Alexander's face last night when he'd realized Madison's pregnancy was fake. The devastation in his eyes when he'd said, "I was going to be a father. Some people deserve the truth, and some people deserve to face consequences for their lies." Emily picked up her phone. 8:59 a.m. She dialed Alexander. Answered on the first ring. "Miss Carter." "Emily," she corrected. "If we're going to do this, you should use my first name too." Silence. "Then does that mean what I think it means?" Emily took a breath. "I'll help you. But I have conditions. Name them. First, I want everything in writing. Contract, payment terms, protection guarantees. All of it legal and official. Done. Second, when this is over, when you have your evidence, I want you to make sure Madison faces real consequences. Not just a payoff to go away quietly. Real legal consequences. She will. I promise you that. And third, Emily's voice hardened, I want to be there when you confront her. I want to see her face when she realizes she's been caught. Another pause. Then Alexander laughed. Actually laughed. You're tougher than you look, Emily Carter. People underestimate me, Emily said. It's my superpower. Then let's use it. His voice turned serious. Can you meet me this morning? We have a lot to plan. Where? My office. Next Gen Tower, 52nd floor. 10 a.m., Emily's heart hammered. I'll be there. She hung up, and just like that, Emily Carter stopped being invisible. Next Gen Tower stood like a glass and steel monument to ambition in the heart of Manhattan's financial district. 70 stories of pure power. Emily had walked past it 100 times, never imagining she'd actually go inside. Buildings like this weren't for people like her. They were for the Alexander Hunts of the world, the people who shaped markets and changed industries before most people finished their morning coffee. Now she was walking through the revolving doors like she belonged there. Fake it till you make it, her journalism professor used to say. The lobby was all marble and chrome. A massive sculpture dominated the center, something abstract and expensive that probably cost more than Emily would earn in 10 lifetimes. Security guards in sharp suits flanked the entrance. Receptionists sat behind a curved desk that looked like it had been carved from a single piece of black granite. Emily approached the desk, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. Emily Carter for Alexander Hunt. The receptionist, blonde, polished, probably earned triple what Emily made, didn't even blink. She typed something into her computer, then picked up a phone. Miss Carter is here. Pause. Yes, sir. She hung up and smiled. Professional, practiced, perfect. Top floor. Mr. Hunt is expecting you. The elevator on the right will take you directly up. Thank you. Emily walked to the elevator, her sneakers squeaking slightly on the polished marble. Everyone else in the lobby wore designer shoes that probably cost thousands. She felt like an imposter. Good. Imposters were invisible too. The elevator doors opened. Emily stepped inside. There was only one button. Penthouse. She pressed it. The doors closed and the elevator shot upward so smoothly she barely felt the movement. Classical music played softly. The walls were mirrors reflecting Emily back at herself dozens of times. 25 years old. Dark circles under her eyes from no sleep. Clothes from Target. Hair that needed a cut she couldn't afford. She looked exactly like what she was, out of her depth. The elevator slowed, stopped. The doors opened onto something that didn't look like an office. All floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Central Park was a green rectangle in the distance. The Hudson River sparkled in the morning sun. From up here, New York looked like a toy city. Beautiful, manageable, small, impressive, isn't it? Emily turned. Alexander stood near the windows, backlit by morning light. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car, if she had a car. His hair was slightly disheveled, like he'd been running his hands through it. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. He hadn't slept either. Emily searched for words. It's a lot. I barely notice it anymore. Alexander gestured to a sitting area, leather couches, a glass coffee table, abstract art on the walls. Please sit, Emily sat. The leather was butter soft. Alexander took the chair across from her. For a moment, they just looked at each other. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said finally. I wasn't sure I would either. What changed your mind? Emily thought about her answer. She could say the money, could say it was the opportunity, could give him any number of half-truths that would be easier than the reality. Instead, she told the truth. My father used to say that evil happens when good people do nothing. He was a high school history teacher. Taught about the Holocaust, about genocide, about all the times in history when people saw something wrong and looked away. She met Alexander's eyes. Last night, I saw something wrong. I can't look away. Even if it's scary, even if it's dangerous, I can't be one of those people who just does nothing. Alexander was quiet for a long moment. Your father sounds like he was a good man. He was. Emily's throat tightened. He deserved better than what happened to him. And you think I deserve better than what Madison's planning? I think everyone deserves the truth. Alexander smiled slightly. Sad but genuine. I had my lawyers draw up a contract. He picked up a folder from the coffee table and handed it to her. Read it carefully. Take your time. If you want your own lawyer to review it, that's fine. Emily opened the folder. 20 pages of dense legal language. She skimmed the highlights. Consulting services. Confidentiality agreements. Payment terms. $1 million wired to her account upon completion of services rendered. Protection clauses. Liability waivers. It was real. This was actually happening. There's also this. Alexander pulled out what looked like a credit card. Black. Sleek. Her name embossed in silver. Emily Carter, what is this? Expense account. $50,000 limit. You'll need equipment. Good phone with a better camera. Recording devices. Maybe new clothes if you need to go places where you'd stand out in your usual attire. He said it without judgment. Just fact, this is insane, Emily whispered. This is war. Alexander's voice hardened. Madison declared it the moment she decided to con me. I'm just finally fighting back, and I'm your weapon? You're my eyes, my ears, my proof. He leaned forward. Madison has a routine. She goes to Lumiere every Friday at 2 p.m., usually alone, sometimes with friends. She likes being seen there, likes posting photos. It's part of her brand. Emily nodded slowly, understanding. And if her lover meets her there again, you document everything. Photos. Audio if possible. Video if you can get it. Dates, times, conversations. Build me a case that's airtight. What if she doesn't come back? What if she's too careful now? She will. Alexander's smile was cold. Madison's arrogant. She thinks she's won. That's her weakness. She'll get comfortable, sloppy. And when she does, you'll be there. Emily looked down at the contract again, at the black card with her name on it, at the life-changing decision sitting in her hands. If I sign this, there's no going back, is there? No, Alexander said quietly. There isn't. Emily thought about her apartment, her student loans, her 2 jobs and her exhaustion and her invisible life. Then she thought about her father, about Alexander's face last night, about Madison's cruel laugh. She pulled a pen from her bag. Where do I sign? 3 days later, Emily's new phone buzzed during her shift at Lumiere. Unknown number. She stepped into the kitchen corridor and checked the encrypted messaging app Alexander had installed. Madison just made a reservation. Friday, 2 p.m., table for 2. Emily's heart kicked into high gear. This was it. She typed back, I'll be ready. Alexander's response was immediate. Remember, photos, audio, everything. Emily pocketed her phone and went back to work. But her mind was racing. She'd spent the last 72 hours preparing. New iPhone with the best camera. Tiny wireless earbuds that could record audio. A pen that was actually a camera. Clothes that didn't scream struggling waitress. Nice black slacks, a fitted blouse, shoes that didn't squeak. She looked professional now, put together. Still invisible, but in a different way. Alexander's security team had briefed her, taught her how to position herself for the best angles, how to record conversations without being obvious, how to document everything without raising suspicion. She felt like a spy, or maybe just someone who'd finally stopped being helpless. Friday arrived cold and gray. Emily got to Lumiere an hour early. Marcus raised an eyebrow when he saw her. You look different. New clothes, Emily said casually. Thought it was time for an upgrade. Well, you look great. Very professional. He checked his reservation list. We've got a full house today. Madison Pierce is coming in at 2. Emily's stomach flipped. I'll take her table. You sure? She's usually pretty demanding. I'm sure. At 1:45, Emily positioned herself near the entrance, pretending to fold napkins at the host stand. The recording pen was clipped to her shirt pocket. Her phone was in her apron, camera app ready. The earbuds were in, disguised as expensive jewelry. Everything was set. At exactly 2 p.m., the door opened. Madison Pierce walked in like she owned the place. Blonde hair, perfectly styled. Tight designer dress that showed off her supposedly pregnant figure. Heels that cost more than Emily's monthly rent. Sunglasses that screamed, "Don't look at me," while simultaneously demanding everyone look at her. Behind her walked the same man from before. tall, dark hair. Navy suit. Emily's pulse thundered. Ms. Pierce, welcome back. The hostess smiled. Your table is ready. Thank you, darling. Madison's voice was honey-sweet, fake, practiced. Emily watched them walk toward booth 12. The corner booth, private, perfect for secrets. She waited exactly 3 minutes, long enough to not seem eager, short enough to catch the beginning of their conversation. Then she grabbed 2 menus and walked over. Good afternoon. Can I start you with something to drink? Madison barely glanced at her. Sparkling water. San Pellegrino. With lime. And for you, sir? The man looked up. Dark eyes, sharp features, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Scotch, neat, your best. Of course. Emily walked away, her recording devices capturing every word. In the kitchen, she pulled out her phone and checked the audio levels. Perfect. Crystal clear. She took a breath. Steadied herself. Then she loaded her tray with their drinks and headed back. As she approached, she heard Madison's voice. Told him I had morning sickness. He actually looked concerned. It was pathetic. The man laughed. How much longer do you have to keep this up? 2.5 weeks. Then we're married and the real fun begins. Emily set down Madison's water without making a sound. Your San Pellegrino. Madison didn't even look at her. Emily placed the scotch in front of the man. Anything else? Give us a few minutes, Madison said, waving her hand dismissively. Of course, Emily walked away. But not far. She positioned herself at a nearby server station, organizing silverware, wiping down glasses, doing all the invisible tasks servers did. But she was listening, recording, documenting. Did you talk to the lawyer? The man asked. Yesterday. Everything's in place. The moment we're married, I start documenting his emotional abuse, texts to friends, journal entries, maybe even some bruises if needed. Emily's hands tightened around the glass she was holding. Bruises? Please. Makeup and photography can create anything. By the time I file for divorce, I'll have a documented history of abuse that'll make me look like a saint, and him look like a monster. And the miscarriage? 2 weeks after the wedding, tragic, devastating, his fault, of course. The stress he put me under, the pressure. I'll be the grieving almost mother, and he'll be the villain who caused it all. The man whistled low. You're cold, Maddie. I love it. I'm practical. Madison's voice hardened. I've been poor. I've struggled. Never again. Alexander Hunt is my ticket to the life I deserve, and I'm taking it. What about when he finds out? He won't. Men like him are easy. Flash a pretty smile, cry at the right moments, play the victim, and they'll believe anything. He thinks I love him. He thinks we're building a future together. She laughed. That same cruel laugh Emily had heard before. He thinks I'm carrying his child. Emily's phone was recording everything. Every word, every confession, every piece of evidence Alexander needed. She glanced toward the booth. Madison and the man were leaning close now. Intimate. His hand covered hers on the table. Emily lifted her phone, pretended to check something, angled it just right. Click, the photo was perfect, clear, damning. She took 3 more. Different angles, insurance. Ready to order? Emily approached the table again, her voice professionally pleasant. Madison looked up, annoyed at the interruption. Caesar salad. Dressing on the side. And tell the chef no croutons. I'm watching my figure. The irony wasn't lost on Emily. And for you, sir? Steak rare with... His phone rang. He glanced at the screen and his expression changed. I need to take this. He stood and walked toward the restaurant's entrance, leaving Emily alone with Madison. Emily stood beside the table, order pad in hand, watching Madison scroll through her phone. This was her chance, maybe her only chance. Ms. Pierce, Emily said quietly. Can I ask you something? Madison looked up, irritation flickering across her perfect features. What? Does he know? Does who know what? Madison's tone was sharp, defensive. Alexander Hunt. Does he know the baby isn't real? The color drained from Madison's face. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, she just stared at Emily. Then her expression shifted, calculating, dangerous. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. Emily kept her voice low, steady. I heard you. Last time you were here. And I heard you again today, planning how you're going to fake a miscarriage, how you're going to take billions from him. Madison's eyes went cold. You're that waitress. From last week? My name is Emily. I don't care what your name is. Madison stood up, her voice dropping to a lethal whisper. You listen to me very carefully. Whatever you think you heard, whatever you think you know, you're going to forget it. Right now, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Madison stepped closer. Because if you don't, if you breathe one word of this to anyone, I will destroy you. I will make sure you never work in this city again. You'll what? Emily interrupted. Sue me. For overhearing your conversation in a public restaurant. For witnessing you planned fraud and extortion. Madison's jaw tightened. Nobody will believe a broke waitress over me. Maybe not. Emily smiled slightly. But they'll believe recordings. And photographs. And timestamps. And documentation. The blood drained from Madison's face again. You're recording me? Was, Emily corrected. Past tense. It's already done. You can't. That's illegal. Actually, in New York, it's perfectly legal to record a conversation you're a party to. And since I was standing right here while you discussed your criminal conspiracy, I'm definitely a party to it. Emily had done her research, spent hours reading New York's recording consent laws. Knowledge was power. Madison's hands were shaking now. With rage or fear, Emily couldn't tell. How much do you want? Excuse me? Don't play stupid. Everyone has a price. What's yours? 50,000? 100? Name it, and this goes away. Emily felt something cold settle in her chest. This was who Madison really was. Someone who thought everything and everyone could be bought. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? I want you to stop. Emily's voice hardened. Call off the wedding. Tell Alexander the truth. Walk away before you destroy him, Madison laughed. Actually laughed. You're serious? You actually think I'm going to give up billions of dollars because some nobody with a conscience asked me nicely? I think you're going to give it up because the alternative is prison. Prison? Madison's eyes flashed. For what? Having lunch with a friend? There's no crime in that. Fraud, extortion, conspiracy to commit theft by deception. Emily ticked them off on her fingers. And that's just what I heard today. I'm sure Alexander's lawyers will find more once they start digging. Alexander doesn't know anything. Not yet, Emily agreed. But he will. By tonight. Every recording. Every photo. Every word you said. He'll have all of it. The realization hit Madison like a physical blow. You're working for him. I'm working for the truth. You sanctimonious little... Madison caught herself, glancing around the restaurant. Other diners were starting to notice their conversation. She lowered her voice again. You have no idea what you're doing. No idea who you're dealing with. I know exactly who I'm dealing with. Emily met her eyes without flinching. A con artist who preys on people's trust. Who uses love as a weapon. Who destroys lives without a second thought. And you're what? Some kind of hero? Madison's voice dripped with contempt. You're a waitress. Nobody. You'll always be a nobody. And when this is over, when Alexander moves on and forgets you exist, you'll still be serving overpriced food to people who don't see you. Maybe, Emily said quietly. But at least I'll be able to sleep at night. Madison's date returned, tucking his phone into his jacket. Everything okay here? Fine, Madison said, her voice suddenly bright and cheerful. The transformation was instant, terrifying. Just chatting with our lovely server. Actually, we need to go. Something came up. She grabbed her purse and stood. Cancel our order. We're leaving. The man looked confused, but followed her toward the exit. Madison paused at the door and looked back at Emily one last time. Her expression promised murder. Then she was gone. Emily's hands were shaking. As she pulled out her phone, she had it all. Every word. Every confession. Every piece of evidence Alexander needed. She texted him. It's done. She knows. And she's running scared. His response was immediate. Are you safe? Emily looked toward the exit where Madison had disappeared. 4. Now, come to my office, immediately. Bring everything. Emily untied her apron and grabbed her. Bag Marcus intercepted her near the door. Emily, where are you going? Your shift isn't over. Family emergency, she lied. I'm sorry. I have to go. She was out the door before he could respond. On the street, Emily flagged a taxi. Her heart was still racing. Adrenaline made her fingers tingle. She'd just confronted Madison. Pierce recorded her confession blown, the entire operation wide open, and possibly made an enemy who had the resources and motivation to destroy her. The taxi pulled up to Next Gen. Tower 20 minutes later, Emily paid and rushed inside. The same receptionist from before recognized her. "Mr. Hunt is waiting. Go right up." The elevator ride felt longer this time. Emily watched the numbers climb, 45, 50, 55. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown number. You made a mistake. A big one. Watch your back." Madison Emily's blood ran cold. The elevator doors opened. Alexander was waiting. "Are you all right?" Emily handed him her phone. Showed him the recordings. The photos. The text message Madison had just sent. His expression grew darker with each piece of evidence. "She threatened you." "She tried to bribe me first," Emily said. "When that didn't work, she threatened me." "Stupid of her." Alexander's voice was ice. "Very, very stupid." He pulled out his own phone and made a call. "Marcus, this is Alexander Hunt. I need you to pull all security footage from today. Every angle of booth 12. Send it to my legal team immediately." He paused. "Because Madison Pierce just committed multiple felonies on camera, and I'm going to make sure she pays for every single one." He hung up and looked at Emily. "You did it. You actually did it." "We did it," Emily corrected. "No." Alexander shook his head. "This was you. Your courage, your integrity, just provided the resources." He pulled out his phone again and started typing. "I'm transferring the money now. $1 million, as promised." Emily's phone buzzed. A notification from her bank. Deposit, $1,000. She stared at the number. 7 figures in her account, real. "Now what?" she asked. Alexander's smile was cold and sharp. Now we destroy her." Alexander's office became a war room. Within an hour, 4 lawyers arrived. Sharp suits, sharper eyes. They spread documents across the conference table like battle plans. Emily sat in the corner, watching Alexander transform. Gone was the devastated man from 3 nights ago. The one who'd looked broken when he learned about Madison's lies. This Alexander was different, controlled, calculating, dangerous. This was the billionaire who'd built an empire before turning 30. "We have her on recording, admitting to fraud," the lead lawyer said. Her name was Patricia Chen, mid-40s, gray streak in her black hair. "We have photographic evidence of her with another man. We have her threatening a witness. What about the fake pregnancy?" Alexander's voice was flat. "Medical records will prove that. We'll subpoena her doctors, get her actual test results. If she's been lying, we'll have proof." "And criminal charges?" Patricia nodded. "Fraud, attempted extortion, conspiracy to commit theft. The DA will love this case. Socialite cons billionaire? It's tabloid gold. They'll prosecute aggressively." "Good." Alexander's eyes were cold. "I want her to face real consequences. Not just financial. I want jail time." Emily shifted in her chair. This was what she'd wanted too. Justice, accountability. So why did she feel uneasy? "Mr. Hunt," another lawyer spoke up. "We should discuss the publicity angle. This will be everywhere, every news outlet, every social media platform. Your private life will become very public. I don't care. Your company's stock might take a hit. Investors don't like scandal. My company's stock is built on innovation, not my relationship status." Alexander's jaw tightened. "Let them speculate. The truth is worth more than stock prices." Patricia turned to Emily. "Miss Carter, you understand you'll be deposed, probably called to testify. Madison's lawyers will try to discredit you. They'll dig into your background, your finances, your personal life. I understand. They'll try to make you look like you're lying for money. Let them try." Emily's voice was steady. "I have recordings, photos, timestamps. Evidence doesn't lie." Patricia smiled slightly. "You're tougher than you look." "People keep saying that." Alexander stood and walked to the window. The city stretched out below him. Millions of people, millions of stories, and his was about to become the biggest scandal of the year. "When do we confront her?" he asked. "I'd advise waiting," Patricia said. "Let us build the case properly. Get all our evidence organized. Maybe a week." "No," Alexander turned around. Tonight. I want this done tonight? Alexander. She threatened Emily. She sent threatening texts. That means she's desperate. Desperate people do stupid things. I want her cornered before she has time to cover her tracks or disappear. Patricia exchanged glances with the other lawyers. If we move this fast, we need to be careful. Everything by the book. No mistakes she can exploit. Then don't make mistakes. Alexander's voice was steel. Set up a meeting. Tell Madison I want to discuss wedding plans. Make it somewhere public but private. Somewhere she'll feel safe enough to come. Where? Lumiere. Alexander looked at Emily. Where this all started? It's fitting. Emily's stomach flipped. You want to confront her at the restaurant? I want to give her a chance to confess. On her own, before the lawyers and the police get involved. His expression softened slightly. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe part of me still hopes there's some explanation. Some reason this isn't as bad as it looks. Emily heard the pain beneath his words. He still loved her. Some part of him at least. That made this harder. And necessary. She won't confess, Emily said quietly. People like Madison never do. They lie until there's no other option. I know, Alexander's voice was hollow. But I need to look her in the eye and give her the chance. I need to know I tried. Patricia nodded slowly. All right. I'll call her. Set up dinner. 7 p.m., booth 12. And Emily comes, Alexander added. What? Emily and Patricia spoke simultaneously. Emily will be there, watching, recording. She's been part of this from the beginning. She deserves to see it through. That's highly irregular. I don't care. Alexander's tone left no room for argument. Emily earned her place at this table. Literally, she'll be there. Patricia sighed but didn't argue further. Fine, but she stays out of sight. Observes only. No interaction with Madison unless absolutely necessary. Agreed. Emily's heart was pounding. Tonight. This would all end tonight. Either Madison would confess or she'd be exposed. Either way, the truth would come out. I need to prepare, Emily said. Get my equipment ready. Take one of the cars, Alexander offered. And Emily? She turned back. Thank you. For everything. For caring enough to tell me. For being brave enough to see this through. I haven't done anything yet. Yes, you have. His voice was quiet but intense. You've reminded me that not everyone in this world is out for themselves. That integrity still exists. That matters more than you know. Emily felt her throat tighten. Don't make me a hero. I'm just doing what's right. That's what makes you one. 3 hours later, Emily sat in a back corner of Lumiere, hidden behind a decorative screen. Her equipment was ready. Recording pen, phone, backup audio device. She watched the entrance. 6:55 p.m. Alexander arrived first. Navy suit, no tie. He looked tired. Older somehow, he sat at booth 12 and waited. 7 p.m. The door opened. Madison Pierce walked. In beautiful, confident, smiling, she had no idea her entire world was about to collapse. Emily hit record and waited for the truth to finally destroy the lies. Madison kissed Alexander on the cheek as she slid into the booth. Sorry I'm late, baby. Traffic was insane. Her voice was sugar-sweet, perfectly calibrated. Emily watched from behind the screen, her recording devices capturing everything. Alexander's expression was unreadable. It's fine. I ordered your favorite wine. You're so thoughtful. Madison placed her hand over his on the table. So what's this about? You sounded serious on the phone. I wanted to talk about the wedding. About us, about our future. Of course, Madison's smile widened. I've been meaning to discuss the honeymoon. I was thinking Bora Bora, or maybe the Maldives, somewhere tropical and romantic. Madison. Something in Alexander's tone made her pause. What's wrong? Are you pregnant? The question hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Madison blinked. What kind of question is that? Of course I am. You've seen the ultrasounds. Ultrasounds can be faked. Her expression flickered, just for a second. But Emily caught it, fear. Alexander, what's going on? Why are you asking me this? Because someone told me you're not actually pregnant. That you're running a con. That you're planning to fake a miscarriage after we're married and take me for billions in a divorce settlement. Madison's face went pale. Then red, then she laughed. That's insane. Who would say something like that? Is this about that waitress? The one who was bothering me today? Her name is Emily. I don't care what her name is. She's clearly mentally unstable, probably obsessed with you. These things happen to wealthy men all the time. She has recordings, Madison. Silence. What? Recordings of you, admitting everything. The fake pregnancy, the plan to fake abuse, the miscarriage, all of it. Madison stood up so fast she knocked over her wine glass. Red liquid spread across the white tablecloth like blood. That's illegal. She can't record me without my consent. In New York, she can. Alexander remained seated, eerily calm. One-party consent state. Look it up. This is ridiculous. I'm calling my lawyer. Go ahead. Mine are already prepared. In fact, he pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. These are the fraud charges you'll be facing. And the civil suit. I'm suing you for attempted theft, fraud and emotional distress. Madison's hands were shaking as she opened the folder. Emily watched her face cycle through. Emotions, shock, denial, anger, fear. You can't do this. I already am. Alexander, please. Let me explain. Explain what? How you lied to me for 8 months. How you pretended to carry my child. How you planned to destroy my reputation and steal my money. His voice finally broke, raw emotion bleeding through. I loved you, Madison. I would have given you anything. You didn't need to lie. You didn't need to cheat. You just had to be real with me, love. Madison's expression twisted into something ugly. You want to talk about love? You loved the idea of me. The beautiful girlfriend who looked perfect on your arm, who made you look human to your investors and your board. That's not true, isn't it? Her voice rose. You never asked me about my dreams, my goals. You just wanted a pretty accessory who'd give you children and make you look like a family man. So your solution was to con me? My solution was to take what I deserved. Do you know what it's like to be poor, Alexander? Really poor? I grew up in a trailer park. My mother cleaned houses. My father drank himself to death. I swore I'd never be poor again. So you became a thief instead. Madison's eyes flashed with rage. I'm a survivor. I used the only currency I had. My looks, my charm, and yes, I lied. Because the truth is, men like you don't marry girls like me unless we lie. Unless we become what you want. I wanted someone real. No one wants real, Alexander. They want fantasy. They want perfection. I just gave you what you asked for. By faking a pregnancy? That was Damien's idea. Emily's ears perked up. Damien, the man from the booth. Finally a name. Who's Damien? My boyfriend. My real boyfriend. The one I actually love. Alexander flinched like he'd been slapped. How long? Does it matter? How long, Madison? 3 years. We've been together 3 years. He was there before you. He'll be there after. So this entire relationship was business. Madison's voice went cold. You were a mark, Alexander. A very wealthy mark. And it almost worked. She grabbed her purse and stood. But you know what? I'm done. Sue me. Press charges. Do whatever you want. You'll spend millions in legal fees and I'll disappear. Change my name. Leave the country. You'll never see $1 back, and you'll spend the rest of your life as the billionaire who got conned by a girl from a trailer park. She turned to walk away. Actually, Alexander said quietly. You won't? Madison froze. 2 men just walked in the front door. Detectives Morrison and Chen, NYPD Fraud Division. They've been listening to this entire conversation, and they have a warrant for your arrest. Madison's head whipped toward the entrance. 2 men in suits were indeed walking toward them. Badges visible. Madison Pierce, Detective Morrison said. You're under arrest for fraud, attempted extortion, and conspiracy to commit theft. You have the right to remain silent. This is entrapment. Actually, it's not. Detective Chen pulled out handcuffs. You confessed willingly. We just happened to be here when you did. Madison's eyes found Emily behind the screen. Pure hatred burned there. You, she hissed. You did this. Emily stepped out from behind the screen. No, you did this. Just made sure the truth came out. You ruined my life. You ruined your own life the moment you decided to hurt people for money. The detectives cuffed Madison and led her toward the exit. She was screaming now, cursing, making threats. Every diner in the restaurant was staring, the perfect facade completely shattered. When the doors closed behind her, the restaurant erupted in whispers. Alexander sat alone at the booth. Staring at nothing, Emily walked over and sat down across from him. "Are you okay?" "No." His voice was hollow. "But I will be. I'm sorry you had to hear all that. Don't be. You gave me the truth. That's worth more than comfortable lies." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Alexander smiled slightly. "You know what's funny? After all this, I still don't know if the pregnancy was ever real. If she miscarried and then decided to use it. Or if it was fake from the beginning. Does it matter?" "I suppose not." He looked at Emily. "Thank you. For everything. For your courage. For your integrity. For caring about a stranger. You're not a stranger anymore." "No," Alexander agreed. "I suppose I'm not." Emily's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. Watch your back." She showed it to Alexander, his expression darkened. "Damien." "Probably. I'll handle it. You're under my protection now. Anyone who threatens you threatens me. I can take care of myself. I know you can." Alexander pulled out a business card, different from before, but just in case. "This is my head of security, former Secret Service. If you feel unsafe, call him immediately." Emily took the card. "One more thing," Alexander said. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "This arrived at my office today. For you," Emily opened it. Inside was a black credit card, her name embossed in silver, and a note. "Thank you for giving me my life back. This card has no limit and no expiration date. Use it however you want. You've earned it." Alexander, I can't." "You can. You will." His tone left no room for argument. "You risked everything for the truth. Let me thank you properly." Emily stared at the card, then at Alexander. Then she smiled. "You know what? I think I will. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and leave a like if this story kept you hooked. Drop a comment below telling us what you think Emily should do next with her new life. Should she become an investigator? Start her own business? Let us know. Your support means everything, and we'll see you in the next story.